Alright, welcome back, Wolves. So, I'm a little angry. So I'm going to start ranting and raging. First of all, cryptocurrencies are extremely risky, extremely volatile. Do not invest in anything you're not willing to lose or lose sleep over, and I really mean that. I always did. I am not a licensed financial advisor. Consult your financial advisor and keep your emotions out and logic in place. So, out of the 1,000+ people in the chat group, I guess nobody brought this up, right? Or asked me, hey, isn't this really negative for cryptocurrencies? And I would have said yes. And I would have actually watched the hearing with Mnuchin. Because I didn't watch this because I read this. I read an article and I read the headline and I was busy. Then I forgot and I didn't watch it. And that is my fault. And of course, cryptocurrency news outlets are extremely biased. I mean, it's complete bullshit. Like you have some person there, right, whose job depends on cryptocurrency prices going higher, and if they keep falling, he's gonna lose his shit job, or he can't write FOMO articles all day to get more, larger idiots to get into the crypto market, so he could offload his bags at higher prices. And that's just the truth about cryptocurrency articles. Just like the asteroid and all that crap. It's all BS. Alright, guys? Now, I did watch this, and we're going to go over this, and it's much worse than I thought. Now, I didn't take it too seriously because I've been shorting Bitcoin since 1400. I've been making a killing. Yes, there's some bounces I was worried about, but those bounces didn't materialize. Well, they did. The price did bounce, but I didn't watch this hearing, and we're going to watch it real quick. It's bad. Alright? So, we have Sexy Steve here. And his and his bimbo gold digger. I did post this in the newsroom. This is indeed national security issue, SEC Mnuchin said on the need for more regulation in the crypto space. We will not allow digital asset service providers to operate in the shadows. Alright. And I'm going to go over that in a second. And when they say it's a national security issue, that's code word for we could do whatever we want. Like, we'll make up whatever law we have to. This is war. That's pretty much what it means. I'm also going to talk about Peter Schiff. He did answer my super chat. I'll talk about that. Alright, let's get into it. So, I slept for 5 hours. I wake up and the price dumps like 15%. It's fine, I'm short. But then I realized I saw this tweet. So, let me play this tweet.
Transmitters are subject to compliance examinations, just like every other U.S. bank. To be clear, FinCEN will hold any entity that transacts in Bitcoin, Libra, or any other cryptocurrency to its highest standards. I also recently established the Financial Stability Oversight Council's Working Group on Digital Assets. This FSOC group enables U.S. financial regulators, such as FinCEN, the Fed, OCC, CFTC, CFPB, SEC, and other key stakeholders to work together to combat risks posed by cryptocurrencies.
Did he miss an agency? He said and more, so probably all the intelligence agencies and I mean, how many acronyms did he just say off? That's like every regulatory body.
As the president has said, Bitcoin is highly volatile and based on thin air. We are concerned about the speculative nature of Bitcoin and will make sure that the U.S. financial system is protected from fraud. Given the international nature of cryptocurrencies, we are also going to great lengths to ensure that effective regulation does not stop here at the U.S. border. Last month, led by the United States, the Financial Action Task Force, known as FATF, the Global Standard Center for AML-CFT, adopted comprehensive measures on how countries must regulate and supervise activities and providers in this space.
He just said it's not just the U.S. that's going to come out with endless regulations. It's going to be global. And they're going to try to force other countries to do it as well. Which, you know, the major countries will go along with the U.S. because they're all partners. Japan especially, and Europe as well. And not just that, cryptocurrencies are a threat to all governments, all nations, all of the entire international financial system if you believe in the Bitcoin story, right?
This was a major step towards harmonizing international regulations concerning cryptocurrencies. We have also had extensive work at the G20, and I will be addressing this again this week at the G7 finance ministers in France. To be
G20, and then later this week G7. So these are all of the major countries and their elites conglomerating, conspiring to stop crypto.
Clear, the U.S. welcomes responsible innovation, including new technologies that may improve the efficiency of the financial system and expand access to financial services.
In translation, they're going to take the cryptography, they're going to take blockchain, they're going to take the technology to improve their own system and their own fiat hegemony, right?
Being said, with respect to Facebook's Libra and other developments in cryptocurrencies, our overriding goal is to maintain the integrity of our financial system and protect it from abuse. Treasury takes very seriously the role.
Okay, to protect it from abuse, meaning Bitcoin and other private cryptocurrencies are a threat to their currencies and their power, right? And their financial system.
Role of the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency, and will continue our efforts to protect our country and secure.
You just heard it there. To protect our country, its national security, and to protect the dollar and the world reserve currency. That's essentially saying fuck off Bitcoin and crypto. You're a threat, which kind of legitimizes it, and this should end the conspiracy theories that they control it, because they obviously don't, because if they did, they wouldn't come out against it, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's fucked. And I'm mad that no one in the private group or the free chat group, no one brought this up to me. Like, hey, did you watch this? Because these headlines are misleading. Let's listen a little more to this.
Cryptocurrency. We will not allow digital asset service providers to operate in the shadows and will not tolerate the use of the cryptocurrencies in support of illicit activities. Treasury has been very clear to Facebook, Bitcoin users, and other providers of digital financial services that they must implement the same anti-money laundering and countering financing of terrorism, known as AML-CFT, safeguards as traditional financial institutions.
Okay, what that means is the current crypto exchanges will no way in hell be able to operate. They have to become licensed brokerages. The red tape on that, okay, and the compliance and the cost of compliance with all of these regulations and to get banking licenses is out of this world. Like, it's almost impossible to get. Even if you're, even like Binance and these larger exchanges, even Gemini, Coinbase, maybe Gemini and Coinbase might be able to do it, but all the other exchanges are done. They're not going to be able to comply, and they'll go bankrupt trying. All the smaller shitcoin exchanges are just going to vanish because international task forces are going to go after them. So a lot of shitcoins are just gonna, I don't know. Like, a lot of these exchanges are just gonna delist and everything and just go away. It's bad. It's bad. This is full out war against cryptocurrencies, except they're not saying that we're banning it, but they are pretty much banning it because there's no way the crypto space can afford to comply with all these regulations, and and then all of these tokens and all of the projects are going to have to comply as securities, file they're going to have to file quarterly earnings just like any other company, and the space is not ready for that. And there's a lot of fraud in the space. I mean, come on, it's obvious. Tether, right? Bitfinex, that's good. They're gonna go down soon. Tether can no longer pump the price. I mean, they're still pumping the price right now. I don't know why. They're all gonna go to jail. Guys, it's over. It's done. I expect a huge bear market for a very long time. I'm just being honest. I don't give a shit what you moon boys think. I have to be honest. It's moral integrity. I have it, right? This is gonna, I mean, I thought the price was gonna crash anyways. That's why I've been shorting and I've been such a bear for weeks and months, because I knew Tether was manipulation. But with this, with the US leading the way on massive regulations, it's gonna drown the crypto space, and all the fraud's gonna leave the crypto space. But that includes most of these exchanges who've been pumping the price, and it's either gonna go into a very long bear market. Maybe only Bitcoin will survive, and then it'll reemerge years from now or something. Or it's just gonna all die. I don't know what to tell you. Or they'll suppress it. They'll manipulate it lower because they can, because they have so much endless fiat that they print. So yeah, I don't know what else to tell you guys. And Peter Schiff was right again. Listen, so I asked Peter Schiff, right? I super chatted him. He answered my super chat first because I threw him 100 bones. And then I asked another question. He didn't answer that question. So let's listen to this, and I'll talk about what Peter Schiff said and my question, why I asked that question.
Well, I guess you're going to lose it. That's why we diversify. Don't have all your gold in one vault. Spread it around the world. I mean, what's the odds that every government is going to just seize every citizen's gold? I think it's kind of slim, but of course, you can have some gold in your own possession, right? I mean, I don't tell people to keep all their gold with third parties. On the contrary, I say keep a lot of gold, yourself. And it's much harder for the government to seize that because they got to find it, right? They got to know where it is. But ask yourself this: if governments are so corrupt that they seize gold, I mean, they're going to be seizing a lot of things. They might be seizing property, real property. They might be seizing foreign currency. They might be seizing equities or whatever, all kinds of assets they can be seizing if they're going to seize gold. I mean, when Roosevelt in the United States made it illegal to own gold, he didn't send government troops to people's houses. I mean, if you didn't turn it in, nothing happened to you. I mean, there were penalties on the books, but nobody went to jail for not turning in their gold. And a lot of people didn't. That's why we still have all these old gold coins, because the ones that were turned in got melted down. So it's difficult for the government to find you. But if they can seize your gold, they can do the same thing with Bitcoin. Now, I know they said, well, they can't find the Bitcoin.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you guys what I'm gonna show you guys what my question was real quick, because he answered my question before he read my question. And the way super chats work, you enter the super chat and then it sits there until he reads it. The more money you pay, the longer it sits there. And he read the super chat later, but he answered my question before he read my super chat. So my super chat was, here I am. Can't read it. So here it is. And you could only put in like 200 characters. Globalized monetary system starts to deteriorate due to global negative yields, unprecedented debt, and causing mass inflation globally. Wouldn't cryptos benefit short/intermediate time frame from capital flight? So I'm asking him, as we go into a global recession and possible hyperinflationary depression globally, which we will, I believe, cryptocurrencies are going to benefit from this because of capital flight, like we saw in 2017. 2017, China, there was a huge capital flight out of China. That's why there was a housing bubble in Canada and helped the west coast of the United States go into another housing bubble in California. But capital started leaving China. And a lot of it went into Bitcoin. That's what started that bull run that nobody else talks about in the crypto space because they're stupid. So I wanted to ask Peter that. Now, this is what he said prior to that, even though he didn't get to the last part of my question. Now, and I'll show you guys. Hold on.
Bitcoin is on the internet. Any transaction that you do with Bitcoin, you don't think that leaves a digital fingerprint? You don't think the government with their technology can figure out who's dealing in Bitcoin? But the other way that governments can seize a Bitcoin, and it's much more likely that governments are going to crack down on cryptocurrencies. Now, of course, they may not crack down because they may collapse before they have a chance. See, if Bitcoin succeeds, it will be a victim of its own success. That's the other problem. I don't believe that Bitcoin is actually a threat to the monetary system we have now. I don't think it's a threat to the fiat monetary system because I think it's going to implode on its own. But if I'm wrong, if it doesn't die on its own, the government will kill it. Because if the government actually thinks it's a threat, they are going to act to protect their monopoly on money. But what government would do with respect to Bitcoin is make it contraband or even make it harder for businesses. Look, I have a bank, right? Euro Pacific Bank. And for years, companies that deal in cryptocurrency have tried to open up accounts at my bank. And I've had to turn every one of them down. Not because there's a law that says I can't do business with companies involved in crypto, but because I would be out of business because of the other banks that would refuse to do business with me. And the reason they would refuse to do business with me is they don't want the compliance, because the laws that are already there, and I think they're going to get a lot harder. I mean, the fact that Donald Trump is tweeting about the fact that he's not a fan of Bitcoin and he's saying all this negative stuff, and now Secretary Mnuchin is out today. Believe me, they are already cooking stuff up to.
All right, so that pretty much answered my question. And here's when I asked my question.
I mean, we have a massive bubble right now in bonds. The fact that bonds have a negative yield, I mean, if you, it's not enough money that I even care. I mean, that's one of the reasons I didn't sell the original money or Bitcoin rather, that I got gifted from Eric Voorhees. That's how I got the Bitcoin. But, there's a lot of people out there that are saying, oh, I'm a secret holder of Bitcoin. Believe me, I mean, I wish I bought Bitcoin when it was $10 or $20, although I wouldn't own it now. I mean, I would have sold it. I don't know where I would have sold it along the way because I didn't do it. But clearly, I could have made a lot of money getting into a bubble early and making money off of people's greed and foolish behavior. I mean, it's not the first bubble I missed. But it's probably the bubble that was most tailor-made for me. So, it's kind of my kind of bubble. So, I mean, I could have gotten on board with it, but I didn't do it. And
the funny irony of Peter Schiff and Bitcoin, let me tell you guys, most of you don't know this. Back in 2010, I believe, maybe the end of 2009, Peter Schiff had Bitcoiners on when it first arrived out of nowhere on his radio show. He had a radio show back then. And that's how I learned about Bitcoin, was from Peter Schiff. It's hilarious. Unfortunately, I listened to Peter Schiff back then, and I just didn't buy a little bit of Bitcoin. And a little bit of Bitcoin would have been like, I throw a couple $100 at it, I would have had hundreds of Bitcoin. Or if I would have thrown $1,000 into it, right? Just a gamble, I would have had, I believe it was under $3 at the time. So, just letting you guys know, that's how I learned about Bitcoin. But I listened to Peter Schiff, and Peter Schiff probably wishes he threw a little bit of money into it as well. And he admits it.
But I don't own it. And so if people think I'm secretly trying to accumulate, that's really rich too. I see online people saying that, oh, Peter Schiff, he just wants to talk the price of Bitcoin down so he can buy more, which is crazy. I'm not talking it down, obviously. What I say has no effect. But I don't want to buy more. In fact, if I really wanted to tout it, and one of the reasons I didn't do it early on, I knew it was like a pump and dump. I wouldn't want to buy it and then try to convince other people to buy it. We have a massive bubble right now in bonds. The fact that bonds have a peso from Chile or something, Chilean peso. Yeah. So what currency is that? What's this 100? Is that US dollars? Somebody just paid me $100. All right. Somebody just paid me $100 to point something out. So who is this? WolfPack Cryptos. Okay. So that name is a hint that it has something. This guy likes crypto. Okay. It says globalized monetary system starts to deteriorate due to global negative yields. I agree. Unprecedented debt causing inflation. Yes, I agree. I agree with that. That's going to happen. We have a massive bubble right now in bonds. The fact that bonds have a negative yield, if you ever needed a bubble that was more obvious, it's that, right? To buy a bond, you have no appreciation. When you buy a bond, you can't make any money. In fact, if you buy a negative yielding bond, you are guaranteed to lose money.
All right. Well, he gave me a shout out, which was awesome. I think he knows who I am because I've met him, and he knows about my other business. And I love Peter Schiff. I've followed him for over a decade now. So he's like one of my mentors. But he didn't answer the last part of my question, which was the capital flight. But as previously I showed you guys, he did answer my question. He answered it through the fact that there won't be capital flight into Bitcoin and cryptos because the governments, and the U.S. government now with Mnuchin and Trump, they're cracking down on it with all of these international agencies. And they talked about this at the G20. Why do you think they have G20 and all these big meetings? It's like giant think tanks coming together, and then they cook up ways to keep their power. That's pretty much all it is. And that's why there won't be capital flight into cryptocurrencies, because they're cracking down on it now. And I just showed you the Mnuchin hearing, right? And it's happening. It's happening. They're stopping crypto. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'm glad Peter Schiff dropped my name, although I didn't gain any subscribers, but that was great. $100 is nothing. I spent like 120 at a second super chat, but I hope Peter Schiff sees this video of mine. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. But thank you for taking my question. And guys, I agree with Peter more than I don't, because honestly, I can't argue against most of what he says. I really can't. Even the technology part of it. I mean, guys, it's technology. Amazon's building some sort of supercomputer to like decode Bitcoin. Listen, the government just have too much power all across the world, and the crypto space is too small. And I don't think the masses, the public, not us, not you guys listening to me, everyone else, they're too stupid. They will give up their freedom for the ease of use. They just want to click like 3 times and then everything works for them. That's what, because people are stupid and lazy, okay? I'm being honest. They don't want to figure out how to paste and copy a address and to keep a private key secure. That's too much work for the average person. That's why, we haven't seen mass adoption and growth like everyone's hoping for. And it's too late. The regulators are onto it, and also everyone sold out. All the Bitcoin whales sold out. They're like, hey, I don't care. Screw decentralized, screw anonymity, screw it all. Let's just get institutional money to come in and pump the price to high heaven so I could offload my bags and get rich and buy Lambos, right? Well, with institutionalization comes massive regulation. With massive regulation, it destroys all the arguments of cryptocurrency to why it's a store of value and why it's good and why it's better than the dollar and everything else. And in the end, it's still not better than gold and silver, because you can still hide that in your backyard or somewhere physically, right? They can't trace it. You can trace cryptos. You can trace it all, guys. If anything, they're going to steal the technology, and now it's going to be used with the existing system. So essentially, the crypto is not going to replace the existing system. They're just going to steal the technology. And that's the world we live in. If you want to live in a free world, you need to convince the majority of the population to want to be free, not to want to be comfortable, and not to get free shit and handouts from governments. And that's it. So, let's look at the price. Let's look at some TA. This looks very bad. This is a 3-minute chart because I put on another short. I'm putting shorts upon shorts, and it's looking good. My shorts. I started shorting at 1,400 or 14,000. Let's take a look at the. Let's start with the weekly and then go down. Well, let's start with the monthly, so no one can say I don't look at the monthly. Monthly, these huge wicks right up here, they look like these wicks from the all-time high of 20,000. These are huge selling wicks, very bearish. Yes, it's on a 5 count, and technically it's not over yet. You could be hopeful that we'll get a 9 count to the upside on the monthly, but I highly doubt it. Let's take a look at the oscillators real quick. Oscillators overextended to the upside, and they're going to fall back down on the monthly. Here's the weekly. Weekly looks really bad. Huge gravestone doji, inverse hammer on the past few weeks, and this also is starting to look like an inverse hammer to end this week. Very negative. Oscillators, RSI coming down from oversold. NVT, it's going to cross. OBV, it's going to cross to the downside. MACD hasn't even crossed yet, and that's about to cross to the downside on the weekly. So we're looking at multiple weeks and months of downside. 3-day chart. 3-day chart's neutral, but this could keep falling because of just the bad news. We just broke below. This is the daily chart of Bitcoin. We just broke below the 54-day moving average, which was 7,800 or Jesus, 9,800. We just broke below 9,800 support on the 54-day moving average. Shit's starting to hit the fan. Let's go back to the weekly real quick. I forgot to mention the moving averages. We're going to go revisit this moving average down here, which is the 128 week moving average, which is around in the 6,000s, low 6,000s. The 3-day, we're definitely going to go revisit 7,400, I believe. And then on the daily, next stop is 7,200 on the daily, moving average wise. 12-hour chart, we're breaking below the 128 period moving average, which is 9,500. Next stop will be 8,100 on the 12-hour. All right, 4-hour. 4-hour, we just broke below my blue equilibrium line. That's very, very negative. If selling pressure continues this afternoon, which it likely will, because right now all the retail investors are freaking out and they're getting home from work in the US. So so it's going to probably continue to keep dropping. Next support area is down around 7,800 on the 4-hourly time frame. Let's go to the 1-hourly. We're coming up on some sort of support down here on the 1-hourly, with support at like 9,300. So we might not break below 9,300, and then Tether's probably going to pump the price, because for some reason they're still doing it. You think all of this news would give them a wake-up call? Hey, maybe I should stop trying to manipulate the market higher or keep it from crashing. They're probably doing it because if it keeps crashing, they're gonna like lose all their money. And that's what happens when you manipulate the money, but your manipulation fails. You lose all your money. That's why manipulation is always temporary and very risky, and most people don't do it. Or whales don't try to do it. Yeah, here's Tether. Although it's dropped in a massive way, looking at the weekly. But if you go to the 5-minute chart, right? I have to give it a second to load. Come on, load. It's actually dropping on the 5-minute Tether, but there was a little bit of they put in a support. The price was going to drop. Tether, came in and stopped it from dropping. But I have a feeling they can't handle the selling pressure, especially since once the news breaks. By the way, I don't see a lot of YouTubers covering this right now, and it's probably because they're selling, and then they're going to cover it once they've sold all their coins, or maybe they're in denial. A lot of them, listen, a lot of people in crypto, they think it's a religion. The golden rule of investing: you do not marry your investment. It's not a cult. It's not a religion. It's not. As soon as you think it is, you're probably going to lose all your money. That's all I got to say. I'm still going to get a bunch of thumbs down, a bunch of crazies in the comment section. Watch this video. Listen, go to YouTube, type in Mnuchin Bitcoin, or type in Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin holds news conference on cryptocurrency, ABC News, and watch all of this. I also posted it in the newsroom. Watch all of this and use your brain. All right, this is common sense. Okay, I've sold most of my bags. I'm still holding a bunch of micro caps. It's not even worth my time to sell them because they're down so much. I might sell some more if I have time. The only Bitcoins I hold personally are the ones I'm using to short Bitcoin, and then I'm going to cash out to fiat and buy some mining stocks. And I'm being honest with you guys. It's a fiduciary duty. It's a moral thing. This is what I believe. You do your own thing. You don't have to believe me. You make your own decision, all right? But this is what I think. This is what I believe. This is my opinion. Hate me all you want. I don't care. Alright, so altcoins are getting slayed. There's not much more for me to say, guys. The WolfPack Cryptos group, I don't know. I have to think about what I'm going to do with it. You can't enter it right now. I'm not taking any more members. Go to MMG Invest for stocks and gold and silver mining stocks. I'm going to probably take a break from crypto. I might still trade Bitcoin and then keep the private group open. It'll be like, and it'll be really cheap, and you guys we could stay in there and speculate. And I mean speculate. Like, you're just trading and gambling. The problem is with these regulations, I mean, I don't want to deal with them as a business. Like, I can't deal with them. It's too risky. So I don't know, guys. It's not looking good. Alright, so I'm just, I'm shorting. I've been shorting. Don't do 100x leverage shorts. Keep so you have your stops high above any volatility and wicks, because Tether. But eventually, once Tether loses control, it's gonna fall like an anchor, guys. I think it's just gonna drop hard. And looking at this weekly chart, still has a long way to go down. It's gonna go back down to my blue line. I'm confident. And that's sub 3,000. Oh, yeah. The blue line just popped down. Did you see that? It's starting to accelerate. While I've been making this video, it felt like 200 bucks. So it's going to go sub 3K. I think it's going sub 3,000, guys. Smash them likes. Please share my video so people get the truth. And it's the only way my channel grows, and I'll continue to do this, I guess. And subscribe to my MMG Invest YouTube channel. You just type in MMG Invest. You find the gold lion. Subscribe. Because I might actually, once cryptos fall to who knows, and the entire market starts imploding and the exchanges go under, I might just quit, because there's no point of hanging out in crypto land. And then I have to deal with regulators and agents coming around, because only criminals are going to deal with crypto in the end, and then I don't want to deal with that. So come to MMG Invest, because I'm going to still do stocks. The opportunity in gold and silver mining stocks is still there. It's the best opportunity, in my opinion, because everything else is, So, yeah. Till next time. Listen, guys, I don't want this. I don't. WolfPack Cryptos makes money because of crypto prices going higher, right? The future is very uncertain. But I'm honest. I don't lie to myself, and I don't want to lie to anyone else. I don't get money off of YouTube ad revenue. And I mean, I do, but it's like $100 a month. I'm just here to speak the truth and tell you guys what I believe. You should respect that. Until next time.